66 million years ago, the end of the Cretaceous period, North America, the Hell Creek Formation. This is not just a jungle. It is a biological hell where evolution has reached its peak in creating perfect killing machines. The atmosphere is thick, humid, saturated with oxygen at around 30%, making every breath intoxicating and every forest fire a catastrophe. There is no law here, no morality, no mercy. Only hunger and size rule. The silence of the ancient forest is deceptive. Thousands of eyes are hidden within it. But today, the natural course of history will be disrupted. The air above the swampy lowland begins to vibrate. Birds and pterosaurs scream as they burst from the tops of giant sequoias. Space itself distorts, twisting into a purple spiral of gravitational anomaly. Reality begins to crack. With a deafening roar, like a thunderclap, 73 tons of concentrated American democracy fall from a vortex in time onto the soft, wet soil. An M1A2 SEPV-3 main battle tank, the pinnacle of 21st century engineering. The machine lands hard. The multi-ton suspension compresses to the limit. The torsion bars groan, but endure the impact. The tracks instantly sink half a meter into the mud. The Honeywell AGT-1500 turbine. The heart of this beast releases its distinctive high-pitched whistle, similar to the sound of a jetliner taking off. The electronics reboot. The crew inside regains consciousness after the temporal jump. Commander Sergeant, call sign SND, shakes his head, shaking off the numb shock. Only static hiss sounds in the headset.
System's failing.
GPS does not work. There are no satellites in orbit yet. Radio is silent.
No time for this.
Digital terrain maps show
Engage
emptiness.
thrusters.
Report the situation, the commander growls. The driver looks through the vision block. He expected to see the sands of the Middle East or a European training range, but instead sees ferns 3 stories tall and insects the size of a human palm. The onboard computer displays a warning. External temperature, 35 degrees Celsius. Humidity, 90%. But the most terrifying information is shown by the commander's panoramic thermal imager. Around the tank, deep in the dense green vegetation, dozens of thermal signatures glow. They are warm-blooded. They are massive. And they have already noticed the stranger. Before the battle begins, let us compare the forces. This is not just a fight. It is a clash of 2 ages. Technology versus biology. Steel versus bone. In the left corner of the ring stands the M1A2 SEPV-3 Abrams system. The combat weight of the machine is nearly 74 tons, with a full task protection package. Armor. This is one of the Pentagon's most closely guarded secrets. 3rd-generation Chobham composite armor, reinforced lattice of depleted uranium alloy and ceramic layers. It is designed to withstand strikes from other tanks and anti-tank missiles. The frontal armor is equivalent to almost 1 meter of homogeneous steel. The main gun is a 120mm M256 smoothbore cannon, a surgeon's scalpel of destruction, capable of firing a shell 4 kilometers with centimeter accuracy. But the tank has a weakness. This is not a video game. The loader is a living human. Under stress and shaking, the reload speed can drop from the standard 5 seconds to a fatal 10. The fuel tanks of the Hungry turbine are designed for intense combat. Without refueling support in the Cretaceous period, the tank will become nothing more than a steel pillbox after 8 hours of operation. In the right corner of the ring stands the Tyrannosaurus rex, the king of lizards. But not the clumsy monster from old movies. Modern science suggests it was an intelligent, fast, and social predator. The weight of an adult individual was up to 9 tons, and according to some data, even up to 10 tons. Weapon. Jaws, about 1.5 meters long. Bite force. A monstrous 35,000 to 50,000 newtons, which is about 6 tons of pressure per square centimeter. For comparison, a lion bites with a force of only about 450 kilograms. The T-Rex bite was not designed to cut flesh. It was made to crush bones. Its teeth, the size of a banana, had serrated edges and were thick enough to pierce the armor of Triceratops. Intelligence. The brain volume of Tyrannosaurus was larger than that of any other dinosaur. It had highly developed olfactory bulbs. It could smell blood from kilometers away, better than a great white shark. It also had binocular vision like humans or eagles. It could clearly see stationary objects. In a burst, it could reach speeds of 30 to 35 kilometers per hour. Over short distances, it was faster than a tank stuck in swamp mud. And most importantly, we simulated a situation where the tank did not face a single predator, but a family hunting group. A dominant female, the largest and most aggressive. An alpha male, and 2 young but fast adolescent individuals. The odds were 1 against 4. The tank's ammunition load is 42 shells. The battle begins. Contact at 12 o'clock. Distance, 200 meters. The gunner's voice breaks into a shout. The jungle in front of the tank is moving. The third-generation thermal imager pulls bright red and white spots out of the green chaos. These are not Tyrannosaurs. This is the advanced group. Dromaeosaurs. 5-meter-long predators covered in feathers, fast as lightning. They have sickle-shaped claws about 20 centimeters long on their feet. They see the tank and perceive it as a large herbivore, like an ankylosaurus. Slow, clumsy, and easy prey for the pack. The raptors leap out of the bushes, emitting piercing screams. Commander SND makes an instant decision. Wasting precious 120mm shells on such small targets is impossible. Crows, fire! Clear the infantry, he commands. The Crow's remote weapon station on the turret roof comes to life. The commander does not need to expose himself from the hatch to claws and teeth. He controls the Browning M250 heavy machine gun using a joystick and an internal turret screen. The stabilization system locks onto fast-moving targets. A red frame on the monitor fixes on the chest of the nearest raptor. The sergeant presses the trigger. Ba-ba-ba-bam! The sound of heavy-caliber fire shatters the ancient silence. 45-gram bullets leave the barrel at almost 900 meters per second. The kinetic energy of each bullet is about 17,000 joules. A hit from such a bullet can tear off a human arm or leg. For a raptor, made of hollow bird-like bones and muscle, it is a death sentence. The first burst hits the leading reptile in the torso. The hydrodynamic shock effect is monstrous. The predator's body is literally torn in half in the air. Feathers, blood, and chunks of flesh scatter in a violent spray. The remaining raptors, possessing high intelligence, instantly understand. The herbivore bites with fire. They scatter in different directions, disappearing into the ferns. Target suppressed, Commander reports. The crew exhales. They think the worst is over. They are wrong. The gunfire and the smell of fresh blood have made the worst mistake. They have sent an invitation to dinner to the masters of this forest. The ground begins to tremble. Water in the puddles ripples. The tank's turbine rumble is drowned by a low-frequency roar that makes the tankers feel vibration in their teeth fillings. Into the clearing, breaking ancient trees like matches, they appear. An adult female Tyrannosaurus. 9 tons of pure fury. Her body is covered with scars from battles with Triceratops. Beside her stands the male, slightly smaller but more agile, and 2 adolescents. The female sees the tank. She does not know what metal is. She sees a rival or prey. She releases a roar louder than a fighter jet during takeoff. The sound is not just heard. It is felt throughout the body, triggering primal panic on a genetic level. This is infrasound that paralyzes prey. But the tank crew is not prey. Driver, reverse. Gunner, load canister round, the commander screams. The distance is closing rapidly. 150 meters. 100 meters. The dinosaurs break into a run. The ground shakes so violently that the gun stabilization system operates at its limit. The young loader, a man named Mike, pulls the M028 canister round from the ammunition rack with trembling hands. It is a terrifying weapon. In essence, it is a giant shotgun shell, but instead of pellets, it contains 1,100 tungsten balls, each 1 centimeter in diameter. Ready, Mike shouts, striking the gun shield with his fist. Fire! The Abrams jerks. The muzzle brake releases a 5-meter plume of flame. At a distance of 100 meters, the cloud of tungsten spheres becomes a wall of death. It engulfs the first adolescent Tyrannosaurus running at the front. Physics cannot be cheated. Thousands of tiny projectiles pierce flesh completely. Muscles, internal organs, everything is shredded in a fraction of a second. The dinosaur is literally knocked off its feet by kinetic shock. It falls dead, turning into an unrecognizable heap of flesh. The jungle behind him is cut down as if by a giant scythe. But canister rounds are effective only at short range and against soft targets. Seeing the death of her offspring, the female enters a berserk state. She does not stop. On the contrary, adrenaline suppresses the survival instinct. Reloading with an armor-piercing round is faster. In the chaos, the loader makes a mistake. Instead of a high-explosive shell, he grabs BOPS, the M1A2 armor-piercing, fin-stabilized, depleted uranium penetrator. A silver bullet made of depleted uranium. a thin kinetic rod designed to penetrate 1 meter of steel armor used by Russian or Chinese tanks. Fire. The shell exits the barrel at a speed of 1,600 meters per second. It hits the female's shoulder, and something the crew did not expect happens. The round passes through the 9-ton body like a needle through paper and flies deeper into the forest, knocking down another dozen trees. Yes, damage is inflicted. The shoulder is pierced, the bone is shattered, but the shell does not transfer all its energy into the body. There is no explosion, no hydrodynamic shock. The depleted uranium projectile carries its lethal kinetic energy away with it. The female screams in pain, but continues running on 3 legs. Distance is 0. Hold position, the driver shouts. Impact. 9 tons of living muscle and bone moving at 30 kilometers per hour crash into the 70-ton tank. The sound of the collision is like 2 freight trains crashing together. The crew is thrown against the walls of the fighting compartment. The systems flicker. The tank does not flip over. Its center of gravity is too low, but it is pushed sideways and rotated. The Tyrannosaurus towers over the tank. She bites the most obvious target, the gun barrel. The grinding sound of teeth on hardened weapon steel is louder than the engine roar. Her tooth enamel begins to crumble, shards scattering in all directions. But the barrel, designed to withstand powder gas pressures of thousands of atmospheres, does not give way. The reptile cannot bite through it, but it can bend the recoil mechanism. If the hydraulics fail, the tank will lose its main gun. Crows is destroyed, the commander reports. The external machine gun monitor goes dark. The dinosaur smashed the module with a head strike. Now they are blind from the top and flank. The second male attacks from behind. He is smarter. While the female is biting the barrel, he circles around to approach from the rear. The rear of the tank is the most vulnerable area. Behind the radiator grills is the machine's hot heart. The armor there is only a few centimeters thick. It is protection against fragments, but not against a monster. The male dinosaur strikes the rear hull with its head. The impact is so powerful that it crushes the anti-cumulative grille armor. Engine temperature is rising. The cooling system is damaged, the driver shouts. If the turbine overheats, it will stop. The tank will become immobile. A steel coffin. Inside the fighting compartment, it becomes hot. The air conditioner cannot keep up. The smell of sweat, weapon lubricant, and fear fills the space. Load high explosive cumulative round, SND rasps. M1A2 multi-purpose round. Unlike a kinetic penetrator, this one contains explosive charge. The loader, balancing on the shaking turret floor, pushes the heavy shell into the breech. The breech block clanks shut, but the turret is locked. The female dinosaur is still hanging on the barrel, trying to flip the tank over. Rotating the turret is impossible. The hydraulic system howls in overload. Safety valves release pressure. They must shake her off. Driver, smokescreen and full reverse. The tank launches smoke grenades. Thick, irritating white phosphorus smoke surrounds the machine. Dinosaurs have excellent vision, but they become disoriented inside the smoke. The phosphorus smell burns their nostrils, blocking the scent of prey. Confused, the female releases her bite, coughing and sneezing. The driver engages reverse gear. The tank suddenly pulls backward, breaking free from the death grip. Distance restored, 10 meters. Fire! The gunner shoots almost point blank. The cumulative round hits the female in the chest. Explosion. The shaped copper jet, heated to plasma temperature, burns through flesh, ribs, lungs, and heart. The shockwave turns the internal organs into a mass of destroyed tissue. The gigantic body that was the queen of this forest a second ago collapses to the ground, shaking the earth. Her agony lasts only seconds. But the battle is not over. The alpha male remains. He is behind the tank. Through the smoke, he hears the machine. He senses the heat of the engine. The onboard computer screams an alarm. Critical turbine overheating. Emergency shutdown in 30 seconds. They have half a minute. Before the tank stalls and becomes prey, the turret slowly and with great strain begins to rotate backward. The drives are damaged. The rotation speed is minimal. The alpha male emerges from the smoke. He launches a final attack. He aims at the open loader hatch, which was slightly opened from the shock of the impact. Through the hatch gap, the loader sees a huge eye and rows of teeth. The cannon does not have enough time to turn. The angle is insufficient. Driver, turn in place! Burn him! It is a mad idea from the commander. The Abrams gas turbine exhaust exits strictly backward through the grill. The exhaust jet temperature is above 500 degrees Celsius. It is a stream of superheated gas, like rocket engine exhaust. The driver locks one track and accelerates the other. The tank makes a sharp jerk, rotating its rear hull directly toward the attacking dinosaur's face. The stream of burning gas strikes directly into the muzzle, the open jaws, and the sensitive eyes of the Alpha. The roar of pain drowns out all other sounds. The tissues instantly suffer fourth-degree burns. The eyes boil. The respiratory passages are burned. The blinded and suffocating dinosaur recoils, shaking its giant head. This moment is enough. The turret rotation is completed. The target is in the crosshairs. Fire for effect. The last cumulative shell. A shot fired from a distance of 5 meters directly into the roaring open mouth. The explosion occurs inside the skull. The king of the Cretaceous period is literally torn apart from the inside. Fragments of bone, brain, and flesh scatter dozens of meters. The enormous body takes a few more steps by inertia and then crashes with a loud thud beside the tank's tracks. Silence. Dead, ringing silence. Only the sound of cooling metal and burning bushes cracking can be heard. The tank turbine coughs and dies. Fuel is nearly gone. The overheating protection has triggered shutdown. The crew sits inside, unable to move. Post-adrenaline tremors shake their hands. SND opens the hatch. The smell of gunpowder, burnt flesh, ozone, and ancient forest hits his nose. They survived. Around the tank lie the defeated giants. 4 of the most dangerous predators in the history of the planet are dead. Human technology, created to wage war against its own kind, turned out to be an absolute weapon against nature. The commander climbs onto the tank's armor. He sees deep claw grooves across the turret. He sees bent display screens. He sees dents on the gun barrel. The tank survived, but it is severely damaged. Ammunition consumption is at 90%. Fuel is at 0. If more enemies appear, it will be the end. But the forest remains silent. Small animals hide, sensing the death of the kings. Suddenly, the air begins to thicken again. The familiar purple vortex opens directly above the turret. "Time to go home, guys," the commander whispers. The gravitational beam captures the tank. A flash of light brighter than 1,000 suns illuminates the jungle. The tank disappears. In the Cretaceous period, only smoking shell casings, torn predator bodies, and deep track marks remain in the mud. Millions of years later, these tracks will fossilize. In the 21st century, paleontologists in the state of Montana will discover a strange burial site. Tyrannosaurus bones pierced by particles of unknown metal, and a layer of soil emitting radiation from depleted uranium. They will call it the Hell Creek Anomaly, and build theories about a meteorite impact. But we know the truth. It was not a comet. It was an Abrams. The experiment is completed. The tank has proven its superiority.